shockwaves inside the palace walls. Princess Anne has just taken a bold stand against Queen Camilla's secret plan to erase Prince Harry from the royal family. What began as whispers became war, as Camilla tried to remove Harry and his children from royal succession documents. But Anne wasn't having it. In a fiery showdown at Balmoral, she drew a line in the sand. This isn't just family drama, it's a royal reckoning, and it changes everything. Secret meeting at Balmoral sparks royal turmoil. In the chilly hills of Scotland, a secret meeting unfolded at Balmoral Castle on October 18, 2025. What was supposed to be a quiet gathering among the senior royals quickly morphed into something far more serious. King Charles III had summoned a select group to address what insiders called a royal succession tightening. At the heart of the matter, Prince Harry, and whether his name should continue to hold any official ties to the crown. Sources close to the palace say Camilla arrived with a full proposal, one that would shake the royal family to its core. Camilla's proposal stunned even the closest royal aides. According to one source, she entered the room at 11 a.m. and began her presentation within 15 minutes of arrival. With a calm but forceful tone, she argued that Harry's disruption had gone too far. She pointed to his absence from Trooping the Colour 2024, his Netflix deals, and his book sales, suggesting he was trading royal secrets for profit. Her notes included a list of over 6 engagements Harry had declined since 2023, portraying him as unreliable and damaging to the monarchy's image. But the bombshell came when Camilla allegedly proposed removing Harry, Meghan, and their children, Archie and Lilibet, from all official documentation of royal lineage. This included Church of England succession files, internal palace security lists, and future coronation invitations. She reportedly said, "We cannot afford to pretend he's part of the team when he's already resigned." Some saw this as a move to protect the monarchy's future. Others saw it as a personal vendetta dressed as royal policy. And at least one royal wasn't having it. Just before the discussion could move forward, Princess Anne entered the room, deliberately late. She had been called the night before by Charles, but had chosen to travel by road from Gatcombe Park, arriving just in time to hear Camilla's proposal. Her arrival changed the energy in the room instantly. With decades of no-nonsense royal service behind her, Anne wasn't about to sit silently while the Queen Consort erased her nephew's royal history. What happened next would send ripples through the monarchy for weeks. As Camilla adjusted her notes and prepared to win over the room, she didn't expect resistance, certainly not from someone like Anne. But Anne wasn't just there to observe. She was there to stop what she saw as an abuse of power. What followed wasn't a debate. It was a confrontation. Camilla may have come to Balmoral expecting loyalty, but she left with a warning. The Princess Royal wasn't just speaking for Harry. She was defending the crown itself. Camilla's plot. According to high-level leaks, Camilla had been preparing her plan since at least August 2025. She reportedly held 2 private meetings with royal advisors at Clarence House in early September, reviewing how to legally and ceremonially detach Prince Harry from the royal institution. In one memo, Camilla called Harry a branding liability. She wanted him removed not just from public events, but from the very paperwork that defined his royal birthright. Her justification was centered on protecting the core, a phrase now repeated by palace insiders with unease. The most shocking part of Camilla's proposal was her suggestion to strike Harry and his children from Church of England succession registries. Though symbolic, Such a move would signal spiritual disownment, something not seen since King Edward VIII's abdication in 1936. She also asked that Harry's family be excluded from coronation ceremonies and official royal funeral guest lists. This would have made Archie and Lilibet the first Windsor-born royals to be ceremonially cut off from the monarchy in over 80 years. It was an unprecedented step in modern royal history. Camilla's motivations have long been suspected, but this attempt revealed something deeper: fear. Aides say she is terrified of Harry's 2026 memoir sequel, rumored to contain new allegations against her. She also allegedly believes Meghan Markle still holds damaging recordings from 2019 to 2020, which could go public. Sources claim Camilla has been pressuring King Charles to seal certain royal archives and restrict Harry's legal access to family correspondences. "It's not about duty, it's about control," one insider told the Daily Mirror on October 23rd. All of this, however, might have stayed buried if not for Princess Anne's response. Her presence in the Balmoral meeting was intentional. As Camilla wrapped up her final arguments, Anne stood up and asked, "And who appointed you judge and jury of royal blood?" The silence in the room was deafening. Camilla reportedly froze while Charles looked down, avoiding eye contact. Anne had drawn a line in the sand, and everyone in that room knew. Camilla had gone too far. Camilla had hoped for a quiet victory, one sealed in papers and nods of agreement. Instead, she faced open rebellion. Princess Anne wasn't just voicing dissent, she was tearing the mask off Camilla's intentions. But Anne's real power play was still to come. Behind her calm exterior, she had a plan of her own. And it wasn't about yelling or scandal, it was about reminding the monarchy who really protects the bloodline when it's under siege. Anne's explosive response. As the clock neared 12:45 p.m., Anne's voice cut through the tension like a sword. "This family does not exile its own," she said, looking directly at Camilla. Staff present at the meeting say it was the first time anyone had publicly challenged Camilla in such a blunt, almost confrontational tone. Anne's hands were clenched, and her voice, usually cool and composed, was trembling with anger. This wasn't political. It was personal. She was defending Prince Harry, and by extension, Princess Diana's legacy. Anne reminded the room that Harry had served in Afghanistan, completed 2 tours, and remained a dedicated veteran supporter even after stepping back in 2020. "You do not delete a man who wore the uniform while others posed for paintings," she said, referencing Camilla's symbolic rather than active royal work. The contrast was brutal, and no one dared interrupt her. According to one aide, it was like Diana had entered the room through Anne. She didn't stop there. Anne accused Camilla of emotional manipulation, claiming she had used Charles's recent April 2025 health scare to push through personal agendas. She warned the king not to repeat old sins, a direct nod to how Diana was once ignored and sidelined. Anne's message was crystal clear. History would not repeat itself under her watch. She ended with a chilling line. "Some of us were born royal, others were invited in. Never confuse the two." By the time the confrontation ended, Charles was pale, Camilla was silent, and the meeting adjourned. No decisions were made. Anne had successfully stalled Camilla's plan, at least temporarily. But more than that, she had reasserted her role as the monarchy's moral backbone. In a family often accused of silence and complicity, Anne had done the unthinkable. She had spoken truth to power, in defense of both family and tradition. The Queen Consort may wear the crown, But Anne had reminded everyone who the true guardians of legacy are. Her bold stand sent shockwaves through royal corridors. But Anne wasn't done, not by a long shot. In the days that followed, she launched a quiet counteroffensive, one that didn't rely on drama, but on duty, visibility, and honor. Camilla had tried to erase Harry on paper. Anne was about to restore him in the hearts of the people. Anne pulls rank as the real defender of the crown. Following the dramatic Balmoral standoff on October 18, 2025, Princess Anne returned to London with purpose. Less than 72 hours later, she requested a private meeting with her father's senior advisors at St. James's Palace. The message was clear. She was reactivating her ceremonial and diplomatic presence. Staff were ordered to prioritize high-visibility events, where she could represent continuity, strength, and honor. Anne wasn't just standing up for Harry. She was repositioning herself as the monarchy's most credible anchor. Anne's next move came during her Canada tour, which began on November 2, 2025. At a military commemoration in Ottawa, she gave a surprise speech that didn't mention Camilla, but sent shockwaves across royal watchers. Every member of this family who has worn a uniform, past or present, has earned their place through service, she said. The crowd of over 1,200 veterans erupted in applause. Insiders quickly confirmed the remark was directed at Camilla, who has never served in any military role, yet now wears regalia previously reserved for working royals. Anne also ramped up her engagement numbers. Between November 2nd and 11th, she attended 9 royal functions, far outpacing Charles and Camilla combined. At each stop, she referenced family unity and lasting legacy, carefully building public trust. During a stop in Vancouver, she met with young leaders and was heard saying, "No one is ever truly out of the family. Not if they're blood." The quote went viral, shared over 4 million times across TikTok and Instagram. The people saw what was happening, and they were cheering her on. Even behind closed doors, Anne wasn't done. She spoke with Commonwealth advisors, urging them not to let internal palace politics overshadow the greater good of tradition. She pushed for Harry's military patronages to be relisted under the honorary service category, a quiet legal move that would preserve his connection to the institution. And just like that, Anne had flipped the narrative. While Camilla tried to write Harry off the page, Anne was placing his name back into the very heart of the royal story. As Anne surged forward, reclaiming visibility and moral authority, Camilla was left scrambling to contain the fallout. But she hadn't expected one thing: Anne's rising popularity. The people weren't just noticing her actions, they were celebrating them. With each appearance, Anne reminded the world that royalty is more than power, it's duty. But as Anne's star rose, Camilla doubled down behind palace doors, and her next move would only deepen the divide. Camilla isolates. In the days following Anne's unexpected offensive, Camilla retreated from public life. 2 planned appearances, in Manchester on November 6th and Bath on November 9th, were quietly cancelled. The palace cited fatigue, but insiders revealed a different story. Camilla was furious. She felt undermined, embarrassed, and most of all, outmaneuvered. She spent most of her time at Clarence House, consulting privately with her inner circle, desperate to regain the influence she believed was slipping away. But rather than back off, Camilla intensified her efforts. On November 10, 2025, she reportedly ordered a full review of all remaining royal privileges extended to Prince Harry and Meghan, including security briefings, ceremonial access, and inclusion in future archival releases. One controversial memo proposed classifying Harry's 2020 departure as royal abandonment, which would legally justify removing his children, Archie and Lilibet, from heritage lines. Palace staff were reportedly disturbed by the language and warned Charles about the reputational risk. Camilla also sought new allies. In a surprising shift, she began elevating Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, into more public-facing events. Sophie joined her at a state dinner in Windsor on November 12th, a role typically reserved for Anne or Catherine. Social media users noted Sophie's subtle discomfort throughout the evening, especially when cameras caught Camilla whispering instructions. Some royal watchers believe Camilla is attempting to sideline the other women in the firm to build a quieter, controllable support circle, one that won't challenge her agenda. The public, however, wasn't buying it. Media outlets from The Guardian to The Sun began running side-by-side comparisons of Anne's military-laced schedule versus Camilla's abrupt absences. Opinion columns questioned Camilla's motives and asked whether she was fit to guide the monarchy into its next era. A YouGov poll on November 13th showed Camilla's approval rating drop to 39%, her lowest since 2021. Behind palace doors, even Charles was reportedly tired of the fighting, yet still unwilling to overrule his wife's aggressive tactics. While Camilla plotted from behind her fortress of power, a quiet truth was surfacing outside the palace gates. The public was turning. As Camilla pushed harder, she exposed her intentions, and the people saw right through them. But someone else had seen them from the very beginning. And now, thousands of miles away in California, Prince Harry was finally learning just how far Camilla had gone to erase him. And who had stopped her? His own aunt. Harry learns the truth from a trusted source. On the evening of November 14, 2025, Prince Harry received a message that left him stunned. The sender was not officially named, but sources believe it was either Princess Eugenie or Princess Anne herself. The message outlined the contents of Camilla's plan at Balmoral, including her intent to cut him and his children from all royal documentation. Harry was said to be shocked, but not surprised. For him, it confirmed the quiet whispers he had been hearing since early 2024. According to close friends in Montecito, Harry spent several hours in his home office, reading the forwarded memos and summaries. Meghan, upon learning of the plan, was reportedly furious. She urged Harry to go public, perhaps through an interview or statement, but Harry refused. Instead, he focused on understanding the full scope of what had happened. "It's not just about me," he told a friend. "It's about who still sees me as family." That quote later appeared anonymously in Vanity Fair on November 16th. Privately, Harry began to reach out. He made contact with William, reportedly for the first time in 3 months. The call was short, under 20 minutes, but significant. He didn't ask for apology or approval. He simply said, "I hear Anne stood up." William reportedly replied, "She always does." It was a moment of quiet understanding between brothers, once torn apart by the system that now targeted them both. The call didn't fix everything, but it reopened a door. Later that week, Harry sent a handwritten letter to Princess Anne, delivered by secure diplomatic courier. Its contents remain private, but insiders say it was a deeply personal note of thanks and admiration. For Anne, it wasn't about recognition, but for Harry, it was everything. After years of estrangement, betrayal, and public spectacle, someone inside the family had defended him. Not out of pity, not out of politics, but out of principle. And that changed everything. While Harry reflected on Anne's loyalty and the lines being redrawn in London, another figure was grappling with a very different reality. Prince William, caught between a stepmother's wrath and his brother's re-emergence, was facing a decision that could alter the monarchy's future. And as the world waited to see where he would stand, it became clear. This wasn't just a family feud anymore. This was a full-blown reckoning inside the House of Windsor. William caught between two worlds. Prince William had tried to avoid the firestorm. Since Catherine's health crisis in early 2025, he had scaled back public duties to focus on family. But as Anne's confrontation with Camilla exploded across royal circles, William was pulled back into the center. On November 16, 2025, he received a full debrief from Anne during a quiet meeting at Kensington Palace. The details left him disturbed and furious, according to a senior aide who described his response as visibly shaken. Though he had been cautious about taking sides since the fallout with Harry in 2020, this was different. William reportedly told his private secretary, "I won't allow anyone to be erased. Not Harry, not the children." He was especially alarmed by Camilla's attempts to strike Archie and Lilibet from church succession documents. "They are Windsor-born. That matters," he said during a closed-door meeting with Lord Chamberlain's office on November 18th. It was the clearest sign yet that the Prince of Wales was re-entering the fray. When King Charles requested a sit-down between himself, William, and Camilla on November 19th, William declined, citing a prior commitment to attend a mental health forum in Manchester with Catherine. However, sources confirm he purposely avoided the meeting to send a message. He would not be part of any scheme that rewrites royal legacy. Since then, he has not appeared at any public event alongside Camilla. 7 official engagements from November 20th to 28th featured either William or Camilla, never both. Behind the scenes, William opened communication with Harry, continuing the private channel Anne had reignited. The two brothers are said to be in low contact but respectful dialogue, exchanging updates on their families and intentions. William reportedly told an advisor, "We're not brothers at war anymore. We're brothers under pressure." For the first time in 5 years, the door to reconciliation stood open, not because of palace politics, but because of Anne's firm stand against Camilla's divisive plan. With William inching closer to his brother, and Anne rising as the new moral compass of the monarchy, Camilla's grip weakened. But power doesn't retreat quietly. As fault lines cracked beneath the royal family, palace staff began making decisions of their own. A quiet rebellion was forming, not with shouting, but with shifting allegiances. Those who once stood beside Camilla were walking away, and in their silence, they were choosing a side. Royal staff begin to choose sides. Within days of the Balmoral fallout, whispers spread through royal households. From Clarence House to Kensington Palace, staff began splitting into unofficial factions, those who backed Camilla's hardline and those who aligned with Princess Anne's traditionalist loyalty. By November 21st, 2025, at least 4 aides were reassigned or quietly transferred, 2 moving from Camilla's communications team to senior support roles for Anne and William. It wasn't public, but to insiders, it was a quiet rebellion. Even more telling was the behavior inside Buckingham Palace's press office. Normally unified in messaging, the team appeared fractured. Aides assigned to Camilla reportedly withheld statements for approval longer than usual, while William's engagements received faster promotion and better media framing. On November 23rd, the Palace Press website listed Anne and William in the top rotation for 4 consecutive days, while Camilla's page went 3 days without update, an unusual digital blackout in the royal media machine. Leaks also began surfacing. A WhatsApp screenshot, shared anonymously with the Daily Mirror, revealed a conversation between junior aides mocking Camilla's efforts as House of Cards with Pearls. Though the authenticity is still debated, Palace insiders say it captured the staff's growing unease with Camilla's increasingly aggressive tactics. Behind her polished smile, many felt a tightening grip of control, and some feared future retaliation. "People are nervous," one insider said. "The Queen Consort is losing control, and she knows it." By November 27th, high-level advisors were encouraging King Charles to restore balance. Some suggested giving Anne a new ceremonial title or expanding her regional authority in the Commonwealth realms, particularly Canada and Australia, where she remains deeply respected. Others pushed for Harry's children to be relisted in formal royal documentation to preserve future flexibility. Nothing has been officially announced, but the shifting tides inside the palace are undeniable, and the quiet revolt may soon become public. While the palace walls trembled with tension, the outside world was already watching. The British public had grown tired of whispered conspiracies and silent betrayals. They wanted clarity. They wanted truth. And in that silence, one voice stood taller than the rest: Princess Anne's. The people had made their decision. Now it was Camilla's turn to face a verdict. But not from family, from the nation itself. Public sides, with Anne. The shift was swift and public. By November 30th, 2025, a YouGov poll found that 72% of Britons viewed Princess Anne favorably, calling her the most trustworthy royal. In contrast, Camilla's rating had dropped to 39%, her lowest since Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in 2022. The press caught wind of the feud, and while official palace sources denied division, the tabloids were ablaze. "Anne defends Harry from Camilla coup," screamed a headline in The Sun on December 1st. Social media lit up. Hashtags like #Stand with Anne, #Save Harry, and #Queen of Honor trended across TikTok, Instagram, and X, formerly Twitter. One viral video featuring Anne's speech in Ottawa and dramatic slow-motion clips of Harry received over 7.8 million views in 48 hours. Comment sections overflowed with praise. "Anne is the only royal left with a spine," wrote one user. "She's defending the ghost of Diana and the future of the crown," said another. It was clear Anne had captured public admiration, and Camilla had lost control of the narrative. Newspapers across the Commonwealth echoed the sentiment. Editorials in The Australian, The Times of India, and The Globe and Mail praised Anne's loyalty to blood over protocol. One particularly powerful headline in The Guardian read, "Aunt Anne did what the king wouldn't." The phrase was picked up across British radio and television, becoming a rallying cry for traditionalists who saw Anne as the last thread holding the monarchy together. For Camilla, the backlash was devastating. Scheduled appearances were scaled down. Publicists canceled a December 4th engagement in Birmingham, citing unforeseen circumstances. Palace insiders admit she was emotionally distressed and furious at the press. Behind the scenes, she began meeting with legal advisors to discuss reputation management, a move rarely taken by a sitting royal. It was no longer a quiet dispute. It was a public reckoning. And the people had spoken. Camilla had once believed her position was untouchable, secured by title and protected by silence. But the crown no longer shielded intentions, it exposed them. And as the monarchy bent under pressure, the path forward rested on one final decision. Would Charles allow the monarchy to fracture for his consort, or would he finally choose unity, legacy, and blood? The final test was approaching, and with it, the future of the House of Windsor. The monarchy's future now hangs in the balance. By early December 2025, the royal family faced a moment of reckoning. What began as Camilla's quiet push to remove Prince Harry had spiraled into a full-blown institutional crisis. King Charles, exhausted by months of tension and a lingering health scare from April 2025, was under pressure to restore unity. Advisors urged him to act, not later, but now. The decisions he made in the next 90 days could determine the monarchy's survival into the next generation. One proposed move was to elevate Princess Anne to a new role, Guardian of the Royal Legacy, a ceremonial but powerful title that would formalize her influence across Commonwealth affairs. Another proposal involved inviting Harry to a private Christmas gathering at Sandringham without cameras or press. A tentative invitation was sent on December 6th. No word on whether he would accept, but the invitation alone marked a dramatic shift in palace posture and a potential first step toward healing. Camilla, meanwhile, was retreating. Sources say she canceled 3 public appearances and was reevaluating her visibility in 2026. Internally, her access to succession strategy meetings was reduced, quietly and without announcement. While still Queen Consort, her direct influence was curbed. Charles, while loyal to his wife, seemed to finally understand what was at stake. "There is no monarchy without public trust," one advisor reportedly told him during a crisis briefing on December 8th. As the year draws to a close, the royal family teeters on a fragile truce. Anne remains the unexpected heroine, William the cautious heir, Harry the estranged son newly embraced, and Camilla the powerful figure now facing limits. The House of Windsor has survived war, scandal, and abdication, but its future now depends on unity, humility, and the courage to learn from history. One thing is clear: Princess Anne didn't just defend Harry. She may have saved the monarchy itself. As the crown wobbles under scandal and silence, Princess Anne stands tall, defending legacy, loyalty, and blood. Camilla's quiet coup has been exposed, and public opinion has chosen its heroine. The future of the monarchy now rests not in titles, but in actions. Will Charles protect tradition, or his consort's ambition? And will Harry finally be brought back into the fold? One thing is certain: Anne may have just saved the royal family from destroying itself.